So unlike a few segments ago where I was expecting a somewhat decently sized haul, but not one that actually filled the box up, here I was expecting to overflow the box, but didn't actually find quite as many as I expected. So this is everything I've picked up from Fuego Ironworks area, as well as just some surfing areas around the place. They usually have one of like 3 different sets of encounter tables through surf, so a lot of the water types here can be found pretty much anywhere. A few exceptions to the rule. There are Steelio and Seal, which I could only find in the path through Mount Coronet leading up to Route 216. I think it's 216, the snowy route. It's the one that has the crap ton of Feebas in it. It has nothing but Feebas if you look in the with the fishing rod. Where was Corsola and Route 220? Oh, yeah, I remember. These two were encountered through the surf, I think, on Route 220. One of them might have been fishing. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, no, I think these were both fishing. I think those were both fishing, and then Mantike and Mantine were encountered just by surfing around. So that's those water types sorted out. Tentacruel, got mine from Route 218. Azumarill from Route 205. I think there's a couple of other areas you can pick them up in using surf, so that's that out of the way. Electivire is actually not encounterable in the wild, and neither is Magmortar. I don't remember if I ever showed this on screen or not. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but there's a couple of dudes in the, like, sort of gateway towards the hotel on Route... I can't even remember. It's the... You know what I'm talking about. The hotel between... just outside of Lake Valor. And, there's just a couple of dudes there. I guess it's like a reception desk or something like that. You talk to them, and one of them will give you an Electrizer, one of them will give you a Magmarizer. So I took the effort to catch a second Electabuzz and a second Magmar and evolved them. So that's those two out the way. That's the, I think that's the whole line. I'm not too sure. I think I've got Elekid already. I'm not too sure if I've got Magby though. Let me actually have a look in the living decks here. Oh yeah, no, I've got both of them. So that's both those lines covered. And then Fortress, Fuego Ironworks, Manectric, Fuego Ironworks, Mr. Mime. No, actually, no, Manectric wasn't in Fuego Ironworks, was it? Where was this thing? Oh, it was Fuego Ironworks. Okay, yeah. Mr. Mime was on Route 218, Gastrodon, Electrode. I didn't even really need to show off Gastrodon because I've already got it, but I'm just like, there, it's right there. I can sort of put that in its right place, because at the moment I've got that sort of setup. So now that my OCD is not quite as raging out at me, I might have to go and grab another East Sea Shallows. Not that I was ever planning on getting like alternate forms of stuff, but it's there, I guess. Then what else? I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, so while exploring the place and catching those Pokemon on Friday after I'd finished recording that segment, I found that there were a couple of surf areas that I did not explore in that segment, and so we're going to be knocking those over first up. And then not too sure if I'm still going to be doing a sped up hullabaloo through routes 219 through 221 leading down to Power Park. I may actually have something to go on a bit of a tangent about. It is in relation to Pokemon playthroughs. I don't really feel necessarily like I have to talk about this to even as much of an extent as I probably will, just because the playthrough that I was going to be talking... Oh boy, Flash. Yeah, that's going to be totally useful. Anyhow, the Pokemon playthrough I was going to be talking about today was Pokemon Storm Silver, which, as you may or may not be aware, does have a 53 segment LP on this channel. At least I think it's 53. Pretty sure it's 53. And so I don't think I need to really go into it a bit too much, but at the same time, it's not exactly one of my most popular playthroughs. It didn't really get a whole lot of views back when it was in progress. Oh, Brick Break, that's a pretty cool TM to have. I'll see who can learn that later on. I think that's out of the way. We can start going for a surf here. There's nothing here that I need in this area, by the way. That's why I've got the rappel up. There is just one trainer here, though, who might be a bit of a challenge. He's known for just randomly having a Riolu, but knowing this hack, he's probably got that evolved into a Lucario. So I'm not too sure what I want to be leading with here. I guess Pompoda, since it's got Flamethrower. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I did the LP of that. I had a team which I was going to talk about through that sped up section, and probably still will. But for those who did not see that playthrough, I guess this is just like, I guess I might as well just be doing this for posterity and completion more than anything else. Also, what the hell is that thing doing at level 45? That's actually quite considerably higher than I was expecting. I gotta stop losing my train of thought here, or else I'm just gonna lose this freaking segment all over the place. Not that I'm already not, but yeah. Storm Silver and Sacred Gold, for that matter, are yet another group of ROM hacks made by Adriano. As a TLDR, it's basically just this game that you're watching now, but it's taking place in Kanto and Johto. It's basically the same sort of goals and everything like that, and so there's not really a whole lot different between the two. I like the burn hacks on that as well. I don't want to go in with another... I think we'll go into Jaeger. Jaeger's quad resistant to close combat, and I think I should be able to outspeed it and get in a Psychic to kill it if anything else otherwise. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that works. I am completely immune to that, so might as well just wreck that thing in the face. I'm quite glad how that worked out. And so the goals for that playthrough were just get everything, do everything possible in the game, get a full living dex and all that sort of stuff. So this is basically just like a spiritual successor to it, if you will, just taking place in a different region. And if I keep bloody going on a tangent about this here, I'm gonna not have anything to talk about when I get down to the hard part, because there's like, I think there's a total of like 14 battles that I have to do across those 3 routes south of Sandgem, leading to Power Park. Oh, god damn it. Okay, I'm glad that you missed right there. I don't even know why I'm not speeding this up, honestly. Staraptor, I guess I'll go in with Tidal and just smash you with an Aurora Beam. Or you can, okay. Just do that then. Metal Sound, really? Level 42 and you're learning Metal Sound. That's a bit piss weak. Oh, there's another Light Clay, which I could fit onto something. I think I only ever really need one, though, just to put it on Diego. And Focus Punch, a TM that I am never going to use. I could check to see if there's any hidden items here, but I could not possibly be asked to do that. So we're just going to sort of leave. And I will start talking about my team once I get down to Route 219, since I've pretty much committed to it at this point. I think we're going to go Floroma Town first. Definitely heal. Not that there's any real reason to heal. I don't think there's anything much down in this cave down here. Yeah, this is Ravaged Path. Almost completely useless, besides the one when I mentioned... oh, okay, this is actually a little bit lengthier than I was expecting. Are there any items here? There is a Luck Incense. Okay, that's interesting. If you want to get a Happiny, then you can use the Luck Incense, fit that onto a Chansey, and breed it that way. And then Stone Edge. Stone Edge is a very good remove. That is actually quite relevant to my interests. I might be able to... I might commit to that over Rock Slide on Rampart. But is there anybody else who can learn it? Not on this team at the moment, but I feel like Rampart's probably the only thing that can actually learn it. So, yeah. Also, would check to see the encounter table for that place to see if there's anything accessible via Surf that I don't already have, but I am just too freaking... Okay, you know what? Never mind. I'm not lazy anymore. Let me actually check. Not that I expect there to be anything, but just to make sure that there's a Whip of Quagsire. Okay. I think I might have to actually catch a Quagsire off screen, because I'm pretty sure the one that's in the living dex is in a Safari Ball, which I do not want. Also, I think the Repel wore off right on that step when I was... Yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, if I caught Pokeross, I would be healed first and then told about Pokeross. I think in later generations it tells you about the Pokeross first, and then heals you. But here I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. Now, I could have sworn there were some hidden items here. Now that I have the dowsing machine, I can actually check that. I guess I was wrong. Sure. Whatever. Alright. This is going to be the tedious part of the playthrough, and actually I should put Tropius away first. Like, Tropius will allow me to fly back, but I don't really need to fly back, so I can just sort of bowl around on my way back. Like, if I backtrack, like, I will have to backtrack. I think there's a PC in Power Park, so I can just grab Tropius out there when I'm ready to fly back. So, yeah. No real reason to bring Tropius with here. Hello, Wingull. Level 39 Wingull to boot, as the mailman shows up. Nothing, I don't believe there's anything that's meant to be for me, or at least not that I'm aware of. Alright, so these two are a little bit easier because I can get a double battle out of them, and so that's just one fight out the way instead of two separate ones. I think I want a Seed Bomb onto the Poliwhirl, and then I guess Gyro Ball the Azumarill. I'm not actually sure which one of those Gyro Ball would do more damage to. Azumarill is neutral to Gyro Ball, whereas Poliwhirl is resistant, but Poliwhirl is pretty sure the faster one. I'll just give this a bit of a go. Oh boy, low kick. Okay, sure. Okay, well that kind of sucked. Okay, let me focus entirely on that Azumarill, because that thing's going to start causing some problems. That big barrel's also going to start causing some problems if I don't shut that thing up, so I guess we're just going to sort of go back and forth between these two. I mean, yeah, Seed Bomb that, Vaporeon can just, yeah. Okay. If I can get through those pretty quickly, then this might not be as terrible as I think it will. Okay. As I heal off the damage that I've taken here, let me get into my team. The first three team members that I'm talking about here are ones that were going to be on the team and then for one reason or another ended up getting dumped. The first of those was, ironically enough, a Rhyhorn. The extent of what Rhyhorn did in the playthrough was I picked it up, I used it against Bugsy, the Azalea gym leader, and then for one reason or another I ended up having to reset the game, and so I ended up just losing that Rhyhorn entirely. And so that Rhyhorn was intended to replace a Phanpy that I was planning on using as well. Well, I gave it a bit of a shot. It's the second time I'd tried to use one, and ended up dumping it after, I think it's like 7 or 8 years ago, I tried using one in Heart Gold or something like that, and ended up dumping it in the PC after evolving it into a Donphan, which is a bit unfair because I didn't really give Donphan the time of day. It could have worked out, but I just kind of got sick and tired of it. And so those two just sort of showed up for a little cameo and then disappeared. And then the third one to talk about was a Tentacruel. Don't be an arsehole, game. Thank you. I love Disc, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll send in Pompote or whatever. It might be part Fairy. We're about to find out. I think that was super effective. It only showed up for like half a second, but I think that was super effective. That was pretty cool. Anyhow, I had a Tentacruel, and this one actually did have a nickname, because this one was actually planned to be on the team for the entirety of the playthrough until shit kind of happened and I ended up having to dump it. And the name I gave to this thing was Jelly Cup. I didn't want to call it something stupid like U-Jelly, or I think Jelly C, or something like that. And so I just thought of jelly cups that I used to sort of eat when I was a kid, and just decided to name it after one of those. It was a jelly cup. It was about as effective as you'd expect. Well, I mean, depending on whether you know that Tentacruel is actually a pretty decent Pokemon, or if you just assume it's the evolution of common water trash, therefore it is objectively bad, but it's actually not. It's actually pretty okay. It's got good special defense, and it was going to be sort of my water type, it was going to be my surf user with the bonus poison typing to cover types and stuff like that. That didn't work out, unfortunately, because it ended up getting replaced. I think after I'd done recording a segment where I took on Chuck, I went into the Dark Cave to catch some stuff that I didn't have access to previously, and in that process I ended up running into a shiny Golbat. I caught the shiny Golbat. I decided, probably against my better judgment, to use it onto the team. And so since I ended up having 2 poison types on the team, I had to kind of dump Jellycup out of the team. Let me put up another repel here. This is getting a bit annoying. What the hell was that? Sounded like someone blew off a whole boatload of steam or something like that. I have no idea. But moving on, I stuck with the Golbat, ended up replacing Jellycup because I didn't want 2 poison types on the team. And this Golbat was eventually named Bowlbat after something that I think Jish and one of his friends sort of created. I'm not too sure if it was a strange creature or if it was something entirely different. But it was kind of like a parody of the Zubat line, which started with the base form of Shobat, which would evolve into Bowlbat, which was incredibly powerful. But as a way to counterbalance it, you only had it for a single battle, after which it would evolve into No-Bat, which did not actually exist because there is no bat. It's a bit dumb, but that's kind of what Jish is known for when it comes to creating stuff like that, and that's just kind of what makes him somewhat endearing to a lot of us. So, let me switch to $3 here. That'll sponge the bounce there. And so it eventually became a Crobat, and unlike what you might expect, it, is this gonna... Okay, well it takes me to Route 221, but I kind of got to go back through to Route 220 to take on the rest of these trainers down here. Pompoda needs a... Jeez, I need to buy some more revives. Let me get Spearman out of the front. I'll leave with Pompoda for this next fight. Oh, I think that might be a double battle. I'll put Jaeger up front just to be like, set up some screens and protect Pompoda while it attacks, I guess. Okay, so moving on from that, it was actually a special attacker, my Bowlbat, because I caught it, I had a look at it, and it was actually Modest Nature, which is pretty much the polar opposite of what you want on a Crobat. Like, Crobat's already pretty fast, and so you could give it like a Jelly Nature just to boost its speed even further. I think at one point it was like the fastest sleep inducer in the entire game, which was pretty cool. Here I obviously didn't want to, I couldn't really use a physical attacking set on it, but as a special attacker it actually worked out pretty well. I gave it dual stabs in Air Slash and Sludge Bomb, and then I also gave it Nasty Plot and Hypnosis. Hypnosis was pretty cool because normally it is an egg move on the Zubat line, but for this hack it was made part of the level up move pool, so that was a great deal of convenience right there. And yeah, it worked out surprisingly well. It did a pretty good job. The other thing though is that on top of getting rid of Tentacruel out of the team, it also caused another change in the team, because before this I actually had a Rotom on the team, and I decided for the shits and gigs aspect of it to go with a fan form Rotom, which you might remember in later generations has the flying type but also has levitate at the same time, which is, what the hell is that freaking sound? Sounds like someone's trying to freaking play a recorder through a megaphone through another megaphone, and sounds like freaking nails on a chalkboard. Like, what the fuck? This is turning into just a slight bit of a travesty for one reason or another. I've got no idea. For all I know, somebody's probably flogging a set of cabinets outside our freaking front yard, and we have no idea that that's taking place. Jeez. I don't know what the hell caused that noise, but hopefully it is over now. Okay, so there goes the Blastoise. I'm actually surprised that this Politoed's been tanking more than the Blastoise did. Is that it? No, there's still a Lantern. Kick its ass. So yeah, for this ROM hack in particular, as well as Sacred Gold Storm Silver, its ability was changed. The Fanform's ability was changed specifically into Motor Drive, which grants it an immunity to electricity when it would otherwise be taking neutral damage from the move, which is really, really nice. It also gives, if a electric move is used against it, it gets +1 speed. So that was pretty nice, but I had to change it up a bit because I didn't want 2 flying types on the team. Well, technically 3, because I did have another Pokemon that would become a flying type, but only as a result of circumstance, and it didn't actually get any use out of it. Hello, big fella. The big boaty whale right here. It's got a shit ton of HP, but it has like next to no defenses to work with. It's a real shame. Get rid of that. I think the only place I need to catch Pokemon from in this like local area is Route 221 itself. Should be some stuff in the grass that I need to pick up. Now, is there a dude here that okay, sweet. I think this might be the last dude in the water that I have to fight. Poison Jab it. I guess just keep spamming Poison Jab until everything dies. I think that's probably the plan. Unless I get to deal with a Tentacruel, in which case $3 can take care of that. It's got good special defense, but it doesn't have great physical. That's where you want to take the advantage. That thing you used Trump Card, that was freaking... That's a very weird move. I think that move has 5 PP, but the less PP it has, the more powerful it is. So if you use it on like its last PP, then it has like base 150 attack power or something like that. It's pretty cool. But back to the Rotom. Since I couldn't use the fan form anymore because of type overlap, I had to have it be a different type. And since losing Jellycup meant I lost my resident water type, it only made sense for me to switch over to the wash form. And so the name I had on the Rotom before I changed it to its wash form when it was still its fan form was Draught. Not really the most original name to come up with for it. It's just named after like a draft of wind or like a draft of air, that sort of thing. After I evolved it though, I named it after, kind of after the a washing machine that we have here at our house, which is like an LG TurboDrum or some shit like that. And so I just took TurboDrum and gave it to the newly crowned wash form Rotom on the team. So it was called TurboDrum. Its moveset was about the same as Mitt Roaster's in this playthrough. It had its special move that it gets for being Wash Form Rotom, which is Hydro Pump. It had Thunderbolt, it had Shadow Ball, and then it had a status move. In Wash Form Rotom's case, it was Thunder Wave, whereas here on Mitt Roast, I've got Will-O-Wisp. So it does feel a little bit samey to be using Mitt Roast in this playthrough, but I kind of committed to it. There wasn't really too many other electric and fire types for me to be able to use that I hadn't already used before anyway, so yeah. I want to Toxic this thing, because even if it starts to like, sweep my team, then I can just do that. And even though it's got knocked out, there's a thing right here, which is cool. But yeah, I'm just about freaking done here, and I still have like 4 of my team members to talk about here. I might as well move on to the next one here as I make an attempt to capture this Pseudo-Widow. And it was actually the other flying type that gained the flying type as a result of circumstance, and that was a Dragonite, which I had named Kaiser. And again, like Bowlbat before it, is a bit more suited to being a physical attacker, but it actually ended up not being a special attacker, because I think, again, it had a nature where it benefited its special attack more than its physical attack. I think that might have also been modest as well. I'll let Pure Incense. Pure Incense, what was that for again? I think that was for... Yeah, I think that's the way you get Chingling, which again is completely useless since Chingling can just be found in the wild in these games anyway. But yeah, it was a special attacker, and another issue that I had to deal with is since Wash Form Rotom can't use Surf, I needed something else to use Surf, and that lent itself pretty well to using my Dragonite as a special attacker as well, because I just gave him Surf, and he ended up being my Surf user. I think it was the first time in my Pokemon playing time in its entirety where I had a Water type and a Surf user, and they weren't the exact same thing. Like, they were 2 separate entities on my team. Okay, I don't think that's happening. Also, gotta love how the first number he comes up with is 69. That's glorious. Now I can't throw this segment away, even though it's turning into a bit of a train wreck here. But at least I'm making some pretty good time. It's actually not even the worst thing in the world. Oh boy, we got a ton of berries here. Oh shit, Spearmint's dead. Yeah, Spearmint died because of that frickin' Pseudo-Widow. Yeah. So he worked out pretty well. I think he ended up with, like, Dragon Pulse. I think some other stab coverage moves, like, not stab coverage. Coverage moves, not stab moves. It didn't have, any flying stabs on it. That's why I was talking about it having a flying type just by consequence more than anything else. But anywho, moving on from that, I think I said what its nickname was. If I didn't, it was Kaiser. So from there, I ended up just for some reason stumbling across 2 evolutions onto the team. I'm not too sure why I went with 2 evolutions on the team. Probably due in part to the fact that I didn't end up using... Oh, yeah, sure. Use freaking Seed Bomb. God damn it. Oh boy, Lock Honey. This is gonna suck. Oh boy. Oh, I actually missed. Okay, I think we can work this out. I don't care about the paralysis. Okay, so, I used the first one I got was an Eevee that was handed to me by Cynthia just as she was leaving Mr. Pokemon's house at the start of the game. It's in a similar sort of vein to the Eevee that you start the game with here. And I wanted to get a female one, and I wanted to use it as a Leafeon, and I had named it Illison for that reason. Unfortunately, I looked at its nature, and it was the polar opposite to what I wanted. I wanted something like Adamant. I ended up getting Modest. So instead of just continually resetting again, I basically committed to just using the Modest Eevee, but I just had to evolve it into something else, and that something else was Glaceon. And so I kept the naming convention with it. I decided to name it after a known fairy from Neopets, but instead of it being an earth fairy like Illison, I had to name it after an ice fairy, and there was one named Taelia, spelled T-A-E-L-I-A, and so I went with that. And it did a pretty decent job. It got a few extra moves in its move pool. I think the final move set was something along the lines of maybe Light Screen, Mirror Coat, Earth Power, and I think Blizzard. I might have actually had it hold on to Ice Shard for the rest of the game. I'm not too sure. I'd have to have another look at the file again to see what its moveset ended up being in the end. Bertha hasn't actually seen some screen time here, so I'll bust her out here. Get some extra cash stack. I keep forgetting that she's got the amulet coin there. But yeah, this thing worked out pretty well, as did the other evolution that I ended up rolling with, which was a Flareon. I named this one Floofin, which is not nearly as original as Taelia, but I couldn't really come up with anything else. But again, it did a pretty damn decent job. It had access to Flare Blitz, so of course I was always going to be all in with that. Go Tidal in here against this Charizard. Oh boy. Oh jeez. That actually did a lot more damage than I was expecting. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to have to Toxic you first. Smash you with a Poison Jab. And I guess just let Pompoto die and then go back and heal again. That's a bit shite. Okay, there you go. Executor, eat you with a Bug Bite. Okay, so that's him out the way. Now I get to go all the way back and heal again. Yay! As I go on about this moveset, I can't remember the entirety of the moveset. I want to say that it actually had Quick Attack on it for the entirety of the playthrough. Just because it got a few extra moves, but I don't think any of them were really all that beneficial. And so I think I had Quick Attack on it for the longest time. I had Flare Blitz, obviously. I believe I had Superpower on the moveset. I can't remember what the last one, though, was, though. I think it might have been, like, Rock Slide for some reason. If I'd used Flareon in this playthrough, I would have had Play Rough on it, because I've seen Flareons used by oppositions that have had that move, which is pretty cool. Nice little bit of type coverage there, so that would have been nice, but didn't end up doing that, so it still did a great job. Flareon's generally considered one of the worst evolutions just because it has a really shitty move pool in relevance to its stats. But in Sacred Golden Storm Silver, it got a great deal of a benefit from Draught. He kind of threw it a bone. And then the last team member that I have to talk about is a Carnivine, which I named Traptrix. Now, unlike this hack, which for some reason took the typing away from it, Carnivine was actually Grass and Dark in Sacred Gold Storm Silver, which kind of interested in me even further into it. I'd already been interested in it before because it was kind of cool. I kind of like Venus Flytraps for some reason. I think they're just kind of interesting and somewhat fascinating. And so I decided to go with one of those for this particular playthrough, and it worked out pretty well. It was basically the physical equivalent of Bowlbat, in that it basically was just, it inflicted a status, it got a stat boosting move, and then it had just dual stabs to work with and kick ass with, and did a pretty decent job. My fucking god, counter, are you serious? Okay, are there any other trainers in this area? I want to say that there isn't. I'm going to go back and heal anyway, but I'm pretty sure we're about done with all the trainers in this area. Yeah, I think we're done. Okay, let me go ahead and throw a save state here just to avoid being molested again. I don't even know why I keep saying being molested, because it's really not... I mean, I'm certainly not going to be fighting this dude. Wait, what? Okay. So, how does this place work? Okay. Right. Sure. Uh-huh. Yeah. Cool. Ah, okay. Okay, never mind. I thought this is going to be the same as, I thought it was going to be different than it was before, but apparently not. Okay, so, on the right we have Professor Oak, and then on the left here, for some reason, I feel like we're going to get dragged into a battle here, but that's our Lady Caitlyn and her servant Draught. Basically the Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman of this generation. And I'm going to go ahead and throw another save state here, because I feel like I'm going to end up getting dragged into a battle against these two, and it's probably not going to end very well if that happens. Let me actually talk to... screw it, I'll talk to them first. Hello. Oh, right, okay. Alright, wow, I'm happy with that.
Well done. Oh.
Wait, I actually haven't talked to Professor Oak yet. Okay.
You were close.
Of course. I think we have to put the sound clip in there. I don't think there's much of a choice in that regard. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yep. Oh, jeez.
See you.
Okay. Alright. Let me throw another save state, I guess. Please don't fight me. Okay. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, well, we're 33 minutes into the segment, pretty close to 34, so I don't think we were ever going to end up in Canalave City fighting the rival, so I guess this is just our replacement then. This is not going to go down well, is it? I actually do not know what this guy uses at all. Alright, let's see how this goes down. Of course, you gotta have 6 Pokemon. Gallade lead. Oh jeez, you're like borderline 50. Okay, can I actually survive anything that you throw at me? Like close combat in particular? Okay, that works I suppose. Alright, well you're dead. Let me go into... Yeah, let's go Bertha I guess. That works. Ah, oh, fuck. Are you serious? Are you shitting me right now? Oh my god. Okay. Let me just reload the save state here, because, there is no way in hell I'm fighting an Entei right now. Like, Entei's not really Entei really shouldn't be posing that much of a threat to me, but it kind of still is, for one reason or another. So let me see if I can at least get into Canalave now. Because if I can... I don't even know. I'm not actually sure how I'm going to be ending this segment. If I'm going to be committing to that fight. I'm probably not going to be committing to that fight. I'm going to, like, put together a team that'll actually work for that. Oh, fucking... Are you serious? Okay, that's a bit shit. Alright. I am not in any sort of a position to be fighting those two right now, so I am just going to be ending the segment right here. I'm going to be starting off with that fight, and then I'm going to be moving on to Canalave and doing another asshole of a fight, and then I guess we're just bowling around in Canalave City. Unless we can get into Iron Island. I'm not too sure if I need the badge to get into Iron Island. If I can get in beforehand, then that'll be cool, since I believe there is a protector on Iron Island which will let me evolve Rampart into a Rhyperior. And I think that's probably about it. So, I'm going to just stop recording here, because, yeah, screw fighting an Entei right now. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I will see you for that.